there's this great phrase, which is architect the way the work is done.
Mm.
Because oftentimes what's hard is they're like, well, we could never use AI for that. And you're just like, instead of just doing it with paper and pencil, if you just used an iPad, we could take a screenshot every 5 seconds and drop it in a custom GPT or change this one thing. Now I just gave you like 100x leverage.
I'm sipping on success, feet up in the air. Why work harder when you can play it smart? Well, that's the lazy leverage way to steal their heart.
Welcome back to Lazy Leverage. We'll do it live. I am here with Miss Catherine of Best Self. How's it going, Catherine?
Doing great.
So we formed a relationship because you are a member of Sagan. We've done some hiring for you, but I also read your newsletter. I've read some of your stories. I read what you write on Twitter. And I'm just like, I like talking to interesting people about random things. And so this is going to be me talking to an interesting person about a random thing, from Northern Ireland to architecture to Shopify to buying a company back from PE to living in Austin, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's just like a lot there. That's cool.
Yeah. There's definitely many chapters of the life, but what am I excited about right now? Anything I can replace with AI these days.
Let's talk AI. Cause like,
Yeah.
I think right now, I've talked about this before and it sounds like you're the same, which is I'm not a ones and zeros AI person. Like, I'm like, I don't know, whatever. But I do think that I am on the very, very front edge of actually putting it to work and figuring out where it falls short. Okay, no, I can't do that. Oh, this? Oh. And so it sounds like maybe you're in the same boat as I am, which is you're like putting it to work. It's breaking, you're fixing it. Oh, that model doesn't work. Oh, we need to use Airtable. Like, so do you want to talk maybe a little bit about how you're thinking about it? And we'll just kind of go back and forth on that, because that's a really fun topic.
I think one of the big things for me is, so I have ADHD, so I have a lot of things going on at one time. And
Sure.
I'm also very quick to figure things out. In the past, you always hit like a thing where you don't know and you have to ask someone or go do research. And that's not, I like get caught up in that. And then I'm working on
Yeah.
the next thing. And so now one of the big things with AI is like, I have genius wizards at my fingertips at all times. And so from like coding, so for example, I'm working on this app, which I'm also coding with AI.
Cursor, Replit, what are you using?
Cursor.
Cursor, okay.
I've tried to learn to code so many times, and I have learned to code, but I realized I don't really care about learning to code. I just want to make things.
Correct.
And so
That's how I feel.
the AI tools are like bridging the gap between people that just don't have that technical ability, but they have a bunch of ideas. And so I have a bunch of ideas of things I want to create. And so one thing today, I was figuring out this like UX UI flow, and I just pulled it into Claude. I'm like, can you tell me if there's anything missing here, like screen wise? And it literally like outlined wireframes for me. And I'm like, and it's these like little minutia details that would get me caught up before that I can now move through quickly. So I think it's actually going to be really good for people like me who are quick to action but get stuck on things to move through, because we can talk to UX, UI, industrial designers. Another thing I'm working on is this like physical thing that connects with this app. And otherwise I'd have to hire someone to like figure out, okay, how do I get the technology for this part? What magnets make sense for this size of device? Like literally that stuff, could be in flow for 3 hours and get something that would take me months otherwise, because I have to find someone. And the act of like, I even put up a job post on Upwork to hire a UX person like last week. And then I find this AI tool that like helps me outline the wireframes, and the act of like going back and forth with someone is so like annoying to me that now I realize I might need someone for like the final version, but for everything before, I'm just like not getting caught up with needing to manage a person, which for me is like my kryptonite.
You and I both have children about the same age. And I remember when I was a kid going to the library and reading, there's only like 2 magic books, and I was super into magic. And then there was like 1 book on Navy ships that I was obsessed. And now I'm just like, my son is going to be able to, if there's not already AI apps for kids, there will be very soon. And it'll be like, hey, I'm in 3rd grade. Tell me stories about naval history that teach. And I'm just like, as a curious person, it's like, it's what I imagine doing a shitload of cocaine feels like. Cause I'm
Yeah.
just like, I've never done cocaine, but when people talk about it, I picture it as just like mainlining. I'm like, hey, teach me in Spanish 15 business words that are useful when I'm talking to my Spanish full stack developer. And I'm now talking in Spanish instantly. And it's like coaching me. And I'm like, I need to go on an island for a year and just play with it to understand.
I mean, even the fact, so I hired an executive coach not too long ago, and one of the things they had me do these like homeworks of like mapping my life, and they were like, get a piece of paper. And I started doing that, and I'm like, well, this is kind of gonna take way
This is
too long.
lame.
And so I like explained what the exercise was to AI, and then I was like, can you come up with questions? And then I went for a walk, and I just like
That's what I
for the
do.
next 3 days, like voice dumped into
Yep.
it, just like every story.
Yep.
And then I pulled the transcriptions, and then it mapped everything together and connect. Like I could have worked with an executive coach for like 3 years. I would never have gotten that. And I actually am like, she's great, but I'm like, oh, I don't know if I need that. And you could ask things like people, years ago be like, oh, your Google search knows more about you than your
Yeah.
partner because you're like Googling things that you're never going to admit, like the random questions you Google. And AI is like one step above because it's like your innermost thoughts, what you're
Yeah.
curious about,
Oh,
and
yeah.
what problems you're having. How do I solve this problem?
Yeah.
And you ask it, hey, where's my blind spots? And I've done that a few times, and I'm like, oh my god.
Or help me empathize with my wife more because we're disagreeing about this. Help me
Yeah.
empathize. I've said it, help me empathize, and I'll be like, oh, yeah, you're right. Okay.
I've also done that where I'm like, okay, what am I not seeing here?
Yeah, help me empathize. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Let me see it from
Yeah.
her perspective or his perspective, right? The thing that I also think that I'm so bullish on, obviously, you know who Gary Vaynerchuk is.
Yeah.
And like 10 years ago, he was so all in rabid about voice. And he was early. He was right, but he was early because Alexa wasn't there yet and Siri is trash. But I genuinely believe that everything, everything is going to go to voice because it is so dang intuitive. Like
Yeah.
we just built something, and you as a Sagan member are welcome to use it. And we're charging like 1 cent every time you use it. No commitment, no whatever. It's just a part of your membership. And all it is it's a web browser that we tuned. It's a button, and it's to help you write content. And so you just click it, and it goes, "Hey, Catherine, any content ideas on your mind today?" And you go, "Yeah, I want to talk about how to buy a company back from PE." Cool. Are there any parts of it? And all it does is ask you, and then it takes that and can write a draft. It's not 100%, it's 90%. You go punch it up a little bit, but now I just go for a walk, take a hit on the weed pen and just talk to AI. And next thing I know, I've written a ton of great content. And all it was doing was just asking me questions. It wasn't like, here's a take on buying a company back from PE. It's just like tickling my brain. And I'm like, oh yeah, here is how I negotiated with him, even though I was buying my own company back. Or so I use it a lot as like a thought partner to pull things out, not to do the thinking for me.
Speaking of voice, there's this tool I started using called Whisper Flow. Where you click
I
on one
crush
button.
Whisper Flow.
I've had it for a week. So I had Super Whisper before, which was good. And I was telling my friend Nick Gray about it because we're like nerding out about tools. And he's like, oh, you need to try Whisper Flow. I'm like, well, I have a lifetime account for Super Whisper already. So it's really going to be inconvenient if I have to move to another one. And then I tried it. I was like, oh, you're so right.
There are a lot of bullshitters online. Just so that you know, here's my Whisper Flow. 23,000 words dictated.
Right? Oh, yeah? You want to see mine? I've had it for a week.
Let's see it.
No.
This is, by the way, this is great. Us showing off our Whisper Flow.
We're such...
Because, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, I know that. I'm like, no, I actually use the hell out of Whisper Flow.
Okay, so, sorry, right here.
Oh, flex. 61,000 words.
Literally, I just moved to Pro 2 days ago, so I've had it 9 days.
It's cool because, we were talking right before we hit record about, and it's why I went on this like lazy leverage journey, of which Sagan is a part of, which is like, I want to build great shit. I want to do cool things. I don't want to be like, I respect people who are like, I work 4 hours a week and I'm going to go do like tango lessons in Argentina. Okay, great. I love that. I respect that. That's not for me. I also respect people who are like, I'm not even going to have kids. I'm so focused on my career and I want to be a titan of finance and I'll call you from my yacht. I also respect that. Where I got obsessed with stuff like Whisperflow or AI or global talent is I'm like, I want to build a great company that I'm proud of that hammers, but that is kind of like on my terms. And what I found was my obsession with leverage is what enables that because I can use AI to write a great memo that then goes to my management team. Or I can, I'm not sitting there, being precious with writing guidance for my team or recording
Yeah,
looms or hiring a chief of staff or, like, do you identify with that sentiment?
for sure. And actually, I wouldn't have bought my business back from PE had I not got AI
Yeah.
and a global. So whenever I bought, so just backstory for everyone else, I sold the
We're talking
company.
like everybody knows what we're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I started this business, which was ecom, ran it for 7.5 years from 2015 to 2022. And then I'd had a baby in 22, sold it to private equity at the end of 2022, like October. And then they took it on and did the PE playbook of they kept everyone for 6 months and they laid everyone off. And they were a new private equity. So that's important to say is like they had this like thesis of what they were going to be doing with ecom.
Can you share that or no? I'm curious what their
What
thesis
was
was.
it was so the person, it's funny, I had an offer from someone else to buy. It wasn't a good offer, but I was like, okay, instead of just being like, yes, I'll sell or no, I'll sell, let me talk to other people. And so I've been in this like DeFi crypto group with like
Oh,
basically it's like 40 guys for like the last few years who are now like pretty big in crypto. At the time we were all in ecom. And then it was so much easier to make money in crypto in 2020 than ecom. It was like money printer versus like every pain in the ass thing you have to deal with. And so anyway, one of the guys there was working as a consultant with this PE firm, and it was I forget what their thesis was. It was like small products, recurring revenue, easy to ship, not consumable. I don't know. They were very precious about
got
their
it.
thesis. It took, yeah. But anyway, they ended up shutting down and deciding to do something else. And I think they got in so close to the end of the aggregators that they realized, oh, this is like hard mode.
This is hard.
A-
Yeah.
And so they asked me if I wanted to buy it back. My first thought was like, not really.
Yeah.
Just because I had like a decent sized team all in the US before, actually loved them, had helped some of them get jobs elsewhere after they get laid off. I didn't know I was going to buy it back. But then I also wanted to buy it back because I was like, okay, what would make this fun? One of them was like, okay, how do I use AI to like get leverage? Because before it was like I have this big team, so it's hard to really do what you want because you're like, well, shit, I have to keep growing revenue to manage
Support the
payroll.
headcount.
And me,
Yeah.
yeah, and me trying to go off and do a side thing is like potentially risking this. You're in like defense mode, which means you're not really doing anything exciting. And I was kind of bored. And so I chose to buy it back, just me, and then hired Sagan to find me people. I used a couple of things before Sagan, and then I'm like, well,
Mm.
this is a great deal. And it's funny the content thing you just brought up because I feel like I like literally don't even know half the stuff you offer. I
And
usually
we're working on that.
yeah.
We're working on
Um,
that.
and so for me, I'm like, okay, how do I have a small core team and then give them AI tools to leverage to be able to do things better? So a lot of times with my team, if you ask me a question, like you can do so much. It's like before you might need a Shopify developer to fix a little thing, and you can literally screenshot something and drop it
Drop it.
into ChatGPT. Be like, how do
Yep.
I fix this? And it'll
Yep.
be right there. And so
Yep.
so much of like minutia is like
Yep.
that stuff.
The one that I think, Catherine, the people who I think are going to get smoked is everybody's like, oh, like offshore global talent's going to get smoked with AI. And I'm like, no, man, the $85,000 a year US based marketer is because I can take an Argentinian for $1,500, teach him to use Claude, and they produce great drip email campaigns and whatever. It turns them in to someone who writes like whoever, like Seth Godin or whatever it is. The person who's going to get smoked is that middle performer who's expensive, but is not a real copywriter who's really like can
Yeah.
write things that, or you know what I mean, is not really a strategist. Those I think are the people going to get smoked. Is the kind of like middle, the like bleh.
Tried to hire people, and it's like, oh, if you're not better than AI, then like paying even like 2,000-3,000. I'm just like,
People ask
no.
us sometimes that for copywriters, and I'm like, bro, just use Claude. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, like go get a course on Udemy or whatever it's called. Just go get, I'll get you somebody who's like smart, hungry, coachable, which is my favorite type of people to
Yeah.
hire, and just go be obsessed with Claude for 2 weeks and you come back. And if we did the Pepsi challenge, the 5 cent a word copywriter and Claude, you're not going to know which is which, brother.
Actually, a friend of mine just hired someone, I think he's from Romania or somewhere, and he was saying like he had a bunch of people apply. He's like, don't use AI, but if you do use AI, I don't want to be able to tell.
That's a good rule. Yeah, that's a really good rule.
Oh, I was going to ask you something. How do you tell if someone's hungry and coachable early on? That's the one
Yep.
thing where I struggle with a little bit with that.
Yep. So I'll give, again, like you, we're not going to just jump right into the middle of it. I'll give the quick background, which is I love hiring people that are smart, hungry, coachable, which I would call attributes-based hiring. And that is for most roles other than ones that require very obvious skills, i.e. my CPA. Okay.
Yeah.
My full stack developer. Okay. But a lot of people are like, I need an operations manager who's familiar with print-based e-com. And you're like, no, you don't. No, you don't.
Yeah.
Like, no, you don't. Like, that's not, people say they want that because they think people are going to hit the ground running. And I'm like, with the speed of change, especially right now, their skill, they know Notion. And they're like, I want somebody who knows Notion. I'm like, bro, you can learn Notion in 2 days. And then in 3 weeks, when Catherine's like, hey, we're all switching to ClickUp or Obsidian, or we're switching to Airtable and now that person who has a skill is fucked. And the person who's smart, hungry, coachable, who could just go watch 5 YouTube videos and be like, yeah, I got Notion. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Okay. We're going to go to ClickUp.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, fine. And so that's the philosophy, is like speed of learning is what's most important, and kind of adaptability. And the 3 characteristics I like are smart, hungry, coachable. Smart is they've just got the intellectual horsepower. Somebody who's dumb is just hard to teach things. Hungry means they want to get better, right? They're just like,
Yeah.
they're hungry. Like, Catherine, teach, like, why did you use this thumbnail instead of this thumbnail? Like, it's hard to teach that kind of hunger, that energy. And then coachable means they'll get better. So you teach them something and they're not like, no, you're wrong, Catherine, that headline was good. They're like, oh, why? And if they have those 3 soft skills, I can conquer the world with them, because I can teach them fast. And they're just like, hey, go spend 2 weeks and go learn this new tool that just got invented last week and tell me how we can use it at Best Self. And they're like, okay. And they're not freaked out by that. They're not like, you hired me as a Shopify administrator. Can you just leave me alone? And you're like, so that's the philosophy of smart, hungry, coachable. The way I do it is always with open-ended questions.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost a consulting interview where you're just like, tell me about something you're fascinated by, Catherine. And I'm not listening for an answer. I'm just like, oh man, I've been geeking out on cruise ships. Oh, why do you find cruise ships interesting? Well, the logistics required on cruise ships. And okay, how have you been learning? And you're like, that person's smart.
Yeah.
Or if they're just like, I don't know, I'm just here, give me a job. And you're like, eh.
I hired a designer. I hired him as a designer, actually. He was based in Europe years ago. And he also was like learning how to do development. And I remember on day 1 of working with me, and I think he was just out of college, and he like day 1 messages me on Slack. He's like, hey, Kat, I built this game yesterday. Don't know if you would need it for anything, but if you do, like, you could have it. And I'm like, I don't need a game, but I love that you did that in your spare time. He would do like on the weekends, be like, I'm going to redesign the Sprite logo. And it's like stuff that people are doing in their free time out of curiosity and like intrinsic motivation.
You can't teach that.
Yeah.
And so I look for it, just like, what do you do for fun? What do you do outside work? Because I'm just, with the speed at which we're changing and evolving and growing, I can't have somebody who's like, you pay, unless they're $900 a month and they're literally just like, but those people are going to get chewed up. What I need are the people who are just like going to grow with me as we push into, like, I think out of the 80 or 90 people, or I don't know how many we have now at Sagan, like less than 10 had a recruiting background in the entire company, because we're not doing it like, well, I go to LinkedIn Sales Navigator and I'm like, that is not what we're doing.
Yeah.
we're doing total. Hey, you guys want to build a custom ATS and Airtable? Sure. Right. Like, so we're doing that kind of stuff.
One thing I would kind of want So you're hearing about AI agents and all like,
Yeah.
oh, we should have someone come in and figure out how to automate everything.
Yep.
And one thing I'm like, is like, how do I just hire someone to hungry, teachable, coachable, and be like, can you just learn, like, come in here and like figure out how to automate this stuff, so that I'm not bothering my team with like my minutia.
Here's what I figured out, and this is a bigger topic, and it ties into a Sagan benefit that you may not be aware of. So we built this tool, we custom trained an AI model because what I said was, okay, I want to use a shit ton of AI and automation. But unless I'm reading this stuff full time, I don't have time to just like keep track of everything. Like I just don't like, and I spend a lot of time like reading and listening and whatever, right? Talking to people. So what we did was we built an AI model where we can interview people on your team
Hmm.
or it's not just you, most importantly, and they don't need any knowledge of global talent or AI and automation. We call it Pathfinder. And it's just like, tell me about what bugs you. Well, every morning I have to upload 5 Facebook ad sets and it's the same. And I just have to write 10 different, and you go, okay, what else bugs you? And
Hmm.
all they do is just like open up a vein and bleed. And what we do is we feed it into our model and we come back, it doesn't cost anything, with a couple ideas for either global talent or we call them digital power tools, which are just AI automation and low code. And it's just like, hey, we could just build you something that every time you upload a new Shopify ad set, it adds it to an Airtable database. And the best scoring one, we send you a Slack message. And you're like, oh, shit. And so what we did with our model was we took every automation on Make, every automation on Zapier, every automation on N8 or whatever it's called,
Hmm.
and we just built a huge database and then we fed it a bunch of ones we've built and we're like, listen to this transcript and suggest
Wow.
whatever. And so for you, you're just like, oh, I can just send my ops manager to go do a 30-minute Zoom call with Sagan and you get out of it this really nice looking report. And you
Hmm.
then Catherine reads that and you're like, oh, that is a good one.
Yeah,
Right. So that's the
that's
idea. So that's
I'm
how
in.
that's how we solved it. Was the number one reason why we are not using more AI and automation is I'm the only one thinking about this all day. They're just like, bro, I'm just trying to answer my emails. Like, leave me
Yeah.
alone. Hey, crazy boss. Um, so that was where we landed on it, was this kind of like discovery was the big impediment to like bigger intake, you know?
Oh, that's
So yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So that's what we built. Yeah.
Because you can do so many things, it's really difficult,
Correct.
especially for new people that I'd even like understand. 'Cause one of my marketing guy was asking me last week about pop, like a pop up or like what the
Yeah.
best one was for conversion with timing and
Yeah.
all that stuff. I'm like, why are we even guessing? Let's just go to like the top 50 sites.
Yeah.
Like, what are
See
the
what they
top
do.
50 sites with the order value and like idea of what we do? And then just like find the pop up. How long does it
Yep.
take? And then I was like, oh, and then I'd signed up for GPT Pro to see what it was like. I'm
Me
like, I
too.
wonder if I could just have Operator do this for me. I mean, it was slow as hell. But it's the slowest it's ever going to be.
That's always the great thing. It's the worst it's ever gonna be.
And it's stuff like that where it's just like I would have had to manually have
Yeah.
someone do that. Yeah.
The other thing, oh, so about hiring somebody, because what I've seen right now, Kat, is that using AI and automation, generally speaking, is an exercise. Actually, you'll like this analogy given your background. Architect, general contractor, laborer. There are not many architects who can look at a piece of land and do this. There are a shitload of GCs who, once I've given you the blueprint, be like, hey, full stack developer from Argentina, here's the schematic. Go make sure all the shit's plugged in and test it and whatever. So, what I find in very short supply these days is architects, which is,
Yeah.
Kat, just tell me your vision for the home. And Kat can say, okay, we could do this. And that is, you can't, what I've seen is you can't hire architects. You can hire GCs. You can even hire draftsmen who take what the architect says and go, hey, can you schematic this or whatever? But that vision element, I could charge $1,000 an hour just to do that at companies because it's, hey,
Yeah.
just talk, and I'll give you, and I'll do a little, and then you go hire the GC to go dig the ditches and pour the. So do you like, as an architect, do you like my analogy? I
Oh,
was
I love that
stretching it.
analogy.
You like it?
Yeah. And I think that when you get in this space, like my wife is in pharmaceutical sales, and sometimes she has the most like random things that they have to do. And I'm like, oh, and sometimes I'm like, can you talk me through like the annoying parts of your like and we can figure out maybe AI can solve, like, how do we like optimize your time so the AI can solve it?
Correct. How do you there's this phrase, and it's the reason why we do this, and I'll give you the pitch on some of the Sagan stuff we're doing, which is, there's this great phrase, which is architect the way the work is done.
Mm,
Because oftentimes what's hard is they're like, "Well, we could never use AI for that," and you're just like, "So what do you do?" And you're like, "But wait, if instead of just doing it with paper and pencil, if you just used an iPad, we could take a screenshot every 5 seconds and drop it in a custom GPT and and
yeah,
but they would have sat there for 10 years saying global talent or AI can't solve this problem. And you're like, yeah, but if we just change this one thing, now I just gave you like 100x leverage, you know?
yeah,
So like that part, architecting the way I'm not just saying the word architecting because you're an architect. I use that phrase a lot, which is like designing the workflows to
hmm,
make them such that I can build leverage into them. Does that make sense?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So for me, it's like I don't want to tell you how the system's created because I want to say the output that I want and the
Yeah, end
quality
state.
that I
We
want.
call that end
Yeah,
state. Yep. We call that end
but
state. I define the end
how you
state.
get there,
Correct.
like even when I hire people, I'm like, this is how we're currently doing it, but I'm not an expert in this. If
Yeah.
we can get the same output in a
Yeah.
much more efficient
Yep.
way, definitely let's do that.
Yep. Output, end state, same, same verbiage, goal, right?
Yeah.
OKR, like whatever. It's all the same stuff. So what Sagan's doing these days, just so that you know, because we haven't done a great job of this, but you should, get emails and stuff, hopefully, which is we hire great people, right? Okay. We help you hire great people globally. We do the talent pool thing, which is kind of the people we've already screened who've passed, but okay. And
Yeah.
what we've gotten pulled into that we really like as well is number two is continued education, which is sending your existing team to our free live group classes. As of right now, we're launching 3 lanes and they're going to be 12-week sessions. It doesn't need to be you. And in most cases, it shouldn't be you. And the 3 lanes are, you'll appreciate hopefully a couple of them. One is AI and automation, like
Nice.
teach, hey, which model to use, how to write good. You're like, send your
Yeah.
team
I
to
will.
this, right? The second one is management and leadership, how to fire somebody, how to give feedback, how to delegate, like all the
Hmm.
blocking and tackling management and leadership. And then the third one is my favorite because I'm nuts about this stuff, is personal organization, is getting things done. Cause I'm like, I want every member of my team from now to infinity to understand the concepts of inbox zero or
Yeah.
the concepts of how to use your calendar the right way. Cause I see these people when they share their screen with me and I'm like, I'm gonna have a heart attack looking at all your tabs.
Yeah.
Like, and so that's the second thing is continued education. And then the third thing are these things we call digital power tools, which are I'm not gonna custom build an enterprise grade app for you, Kat, but you want me to build something where you send a voice note and it automatically uploads to a ClickUp board, and that ClickUp board gets assigned to your EA that, by the way, we also hired for you. Yeah, and we'll do that for $100 and then 1 cent every time you use it. No contract, no minimum seats, and we can build it for you. And it's just a part of your. What I'm trying to do is retain you as a Sagan member forever. And you're like, ain't nobody got time to futz around and make for 5 hours for this. And so that's really when we look at our value proposition. It's global hiring, continued education, and these digital power tools, and they're all done within your Sagan membership. So that's the idea.
That's awesome.
You like it?
And yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that the AI automation stuff where you figure out what we need, that's the sort of thing where I'm just like, I know we need that, but I don't have the bandwidth. And I
Yeah.
don't have the person that can be distracted enough to like figure that out.
Correct.
When we were DMing and you were telling me that you don't have an EA,
Yep. Yeah.
tell me about that.
So, do you know getting things done? You're not exactly in that business, but you have a bit of that. So, I used to have an assistant, right? A couple years ago. And what I found was my philosophy with assistants is like Hollywood agents, which is I would sometimes hire an assistant and 15-year executive assistant and Ernst and Young and
Yeah.
whatever. And God love them. And I mean this in the nicest way possible. They were like white tennis shoe ladies. Like they kept the candy bowl full and whatever. And if you can't tell, I'm fucking insane. And so that person, I like either they don't move fast enough for me or I blow them out, or if they can keep up, I immediately want to push them into bigger and better things, not scheduling my haircuts. Right.
Yeah.
And so then what I started doing, which has been very successful, is I treat my assistants like Hollywood agents do, which is you get the guy who just finished USC film school and you're like, you're going to be the coffee bitch for 6 months, but I'm only doing that to see if you're good and you can keep up. And in 6 months and a day, you're going to be my head of operations or
Mm.
you're going to be my. And so for me, it's an up or out position that when I want to groom someone as like an apprentice, I then immediately push them into. I now have probably 4 or 5 former assistants who have like 5 to 10 person teams now within Sagan
Oh, yeah.
because they learned it and they're like, no, no, John does, and they are the best advocates for like
Mm.
the John method.
Yeah.
Because they're like, no, no, it's okay. You can make mistakes, and oh no, just use AI for that.
Yeah.
And so what I found was over time, unless I'm intentionally like grooming someone, I don't I try to stiff arm
Mhm.
uh enough stuff that I don't get that deluge of
What's stiff? What do you mean?
um I don't get a lot of email.
Mhm.
I don't get a lot of email. I have 2 or 3 emails in my inbox
Oh, great.
right? I muted basically every Slack channel. I'm in every Slack channel, but unless they need me, again, I'm very involved, but it's on my terms. So I don't need
Mhm.
like a gatekeeper. Like you send me a Twitter DM, I'm like, thanks,
Yeah,
Kat.
yeah, yeah.
I see it. Right. So, like, what do you use your assistant for?
Well, I just let her go today because I was like, she's not gonna watch this hopefully, but it was just the point where I'm like, I feel that I need someone like a house manager more than I need like a VA.
Yeah.
And a lot of things that she was doing, it's like minimal because I got her before I got the business back. So it was like kind of like, $900 a month person where it's just like they were just doing things here and there, but it was like things were falling through the cracks. And
Correct.
it was just like, well, I
Correct.
already have to have my brain on. So if I just knew that I had to
Correct.
take care of it, it's going to be easier.
It'll be faster and it's less brain damage. So the
Yeah.
only people that I could see that could do that stuff were people who weren't going to stay in that position forever, meaning a hard so if you put in a Sagan request today and you're like, Cat needs an apprentice. What is an apprentice? For the first 6 months, you're going to be attached to my butt and you're going to do everything from helping me order a t-shirt to meeting with a vendor about a possible $20,000 purchase. But you're going to be attached to my hip for 6 months. And in 6 months, we're going to have a conversation. And if you've done well and you're still standing and we still like each other, I'm going to promote the shit out of you. Into what role? I don't know. It depends on what you're good at. That
Yeah.
to me makes way more sense than, hey, can you go order this thing on Amazon for me? I'm like, bro, it takes
Yeah.
by the time I uh,
Yeah.
like so that's where I'm like, if you're really organized, which I am in terms of getting things
Hmm.
done and specifically, I just don't have that like people are like, I need somebody to help me with my emails. I'm like, why are you getting so many emails?
Yeah.
Have you tried telling your team they don't need to CC you on everything?
Yeah.
Why are you getting so many emails? The one place where I do think an assistant works really well is when you're in that stage where the owner's labor matters a lot. Just
Hmm.
like if you're a sales rep, I think sales assistants are great because, hey, I just sent you a voice note. You take the CRM notes. I'm driving to my next appointment because their labor, they need leverage on their labor. But in my companies, we're not building leverage off my labor anymore, right? Like my head of operations has an assistant. Right? My head of
Okay.
recruitment has
Yeah.
an assistant, but I don't have an assistant because I'm like, why am I doing tasks? Why are they even hitting my radar? I should be writing memos, developing people, doing
Yeah.
podcasts, like, and what? If I would have had an assistant reach out to you, hey Kat, John, I'm John's fuck you. John sent me like, Kat, I'll just message you.
It's funny how many people like have their assistants will reach out about something and then they later like, hey, sorry about that. Like I didn't, because they'll talk to me like a stranger from their email, and then
Correct.
they're like, oh, sorry, like I
That
know this
wasn't me.
person. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm like, oh, I was aware.
Like I have nothing more important to me than building relationships directly with our customers, with our senior leaders. Now, from time to time, do I wish I had somebody to like coordinate a 4-way call? Yeah, sure. I have flirted with, I wonder if you think if this is a good benefit at Sagan, Cat, which is, you know how Amex Platinum has like the shared
Concierge.
assistant thing. I
Yeah,
might
I've
say
never
like
used it.
I might say as a part of your Sagan membership, you get like 10 hours a month so that when I do have those random things like, can you build me a itinerary for my wife and I's trip to Orlando? You can just do that. They book it against your membership. It's totally free. It's just 10
Yeah,
hours a week because like I could use or 10 hours a month. Like I could use an occasional like good assistant to just like, but it would be done like, do you think that'd be a good Sagan benefit?
probably. I
You
mean,
like that?
I'm like, I'd wonder how many people in Sagan have an assistant that like are like in between, like I was, or is like that's kind of more of a pain in the ass to just like do this stuff. Like
Yeah. The
it's just
friction,
not equaling. Yeah,
the friction. Like
and then when it's not done correctly, it's just like, and then I still have to remind them about something where I'm like, okay, this is annoying.
now there are ways to solve that. There are absolutely ways to solve that. But for you, given the speed at which you move, I can't suggest an apprentice strongly enough.
I would love to hire an apprentice. Is that like an actual job? I could be like, I need an apprentice, and they have to be like slightly crazy,
Yeah.
not totally.
So my team knows, right? They see when I've talked to our members because all of a sudden they get a hiring form in that says smart, hungry, coachable. Hey, I just talked to John. He said to let you guys know that I'm looking for an apprentice who's smart, hungry, coachable. It should be, anywhere between 1,200 and 2,500 based on their skill set. But anything more than that is probably a little bit overcooked. I want somebody who's just going to kind of like grow beside me. They need to like technology. They need to have a fucking motor. I have no other requirements. And if
Yeah,
you just give them that, they'll get you somebody. You do not want somebody who's been an EA before.
yeah,
Like
okay.
I specifically don't want an EA. I want somebody who's like was a restaurant manager in El Salvador and
Hmm.
just moved in with her mom to help take care of her and has a great internet connection and is still like bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. And I'm like, okay, I can turn you into a fucking monster. Like, come learn. Like, that's how I do it.
What does your day look like? You hire an apprentice day one is like you're on Zoom calls, or like what does that look like?
Yeah. So for me, what I would do is I would the hardest and most predominant factor in remote work is a lack of context. It is the number one pervasive dynamic, which is doesn't matter how good they are, they're looking through a straw.
Yeah.
And so I think of my job with someone like an apprentice, which is in the beginning for the first 2 weeks, my only job is to try to get them as much context as possible. Now, what I would also be doing is as you're going, I want you to be tracking this context building because your first project might be to put all the shit in one place so the next person we hire doesn't have to do what you did. Which
Yeah.
Slack channels to join? Which podcast interviews with Kat helped you get up to speed on what the company does? Which
Mm,
Sagan resources were super useful to you? Which emails from like which meetings you need to be in and which ones you don't need to be in. All of that stuff they can work on that as they're joining. But in the beginning, it's just like, hey, you should just join as many of my meetings as you can. You should read everything you can. You should meet with every member of their team, record it,
mhm.
put it in Notion and write, right? And then when
Yeah.
you're not meeting with somebody, I want you to be watching YouTube videos about using Airtable better because I'm super bullish on using Airtable at our company. I don't know shit. So go start watching stuff.
Okay. So
That's
you're a
what I
big
would do in the
Airtable fan?
Yeah, I am. Are
Okay.
you not?
I don't use it.
I don't know if you want to, you have enough going on. Like, but it's a database of databases. And
Yeah.
for
Is
me
it
as the
like Notion? Is it because isn't Notion similar?
Notion is really good for I think of Notion as Wikipedia. It's really good for written word. It's really good for kind of like a permanent source of data, like the truth. What's the
Yeah.
Wi-Fi password at the office? How do I request time off? Oh, it's like the manual. What
Yeah.
Airtable is it's a database. So it's like you want to, so as an example, an Airtable, we record every single sales call, we transcribe it in Airtable, and then we run LLMs against all of our sales calls to understand what converts sales better than what doesn't. You can't do
Okay.
that in Notion. No way.
Yeah.
Every SKU, it's got its SKU number, its order date, its 50 pieces of metadata, and then I can run automations against that metadata. I can run AI against that metadata. And so now you can start to see It's just
Yeah.
you get to build databases from scratch, so it's a little bit more technical, but with AI, man, it's like I could show you some stuff once we get off. I don't wanna, like
Okay.
but,
Bore
you can
anyone?
build front ends on top of it. "Hey, here's database. I want you to visualize it in a dashboard." Easy with
Mhm.
Airtable. So, it's really like I would think of it as Legos.
Okay.
Like, you can build anything you want with it. It's not building things from scratch, but it's also
Yeah.
not simple. Like, you can build
Okay.
people build, like, cities with Legos. Same thing.
Yeah.
Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah.
So, apprentice, am I gonna see a hiring request for an apprentice?
Yeah. You are.
Yeah. How's, you should put in the request, though, talk to John, because I'll give them more context. Be like, "John
Yeah, we
said you
should
should
just
talk to him about
transcribe this call.
this." How have you found Sagan so far?
It's been great. I've referred a ton of people
Cool. That's great.
because I refer people, there's sometimes people need like one-off people,
Yeah.
and I use the service, just this one guy who finds you 3 people.
Cool.
But one thing I love about Sagan is the diversity of the locations because I have 2 people on my team from the Philippines who I love. However, I don't love that I have to like, they have to work during the night, and even
Yeah.
though, like, culturally, they're like, "Oh, this is normal," I'm like, "Yeah, I know it is, but I just, like I feel bad."
Yeah.
And health-wise, I'm like, "I don't know that it's healthy to be up all night." Anyway, so what I like is now most of my team are in South America.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the mix. And
Yeah.
I like being able to work on things like the early shift. I
Mhm.
like having a little bit of overlap, but I don't love my Philippines people to work to 4 PM PST. That's crazy. I'm like,
Yeah.
work to 10:30 PST so that
Yeah.
you get a start on the day. You come in, we can still do meetings and then like go to bed and it's 1 AM. I'm
Yeah.
like, I can do 1 AM. 1 AM is fine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what I don't want to do is like you're up at 7 in the morning, you've been up all night just because I'm like,
Yeah.
let's just get you somebody in Argentina.
Yeah.
Like, so I like that diversity as well. Have you made any hires out of the talent pool?
Oh, yeah, I hired a video editor who I still have.
Cool.
The talent pool is awesome because there was a few weeks ago, you guys posted it was kind of like it was like an automation developer or something like that,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what I was looking for, but I didn't have a job. I was just like, "I want that."
Yeah, it's
And
like inspo.
so
It's like
yes,
Pinterest.
yeah, exactly. So the talent pool, I've recruited maybe 3 people,
That's so cool.
3 or f that you guys have fallen for me, and then I've also, just gone on the talent pool. One thing I would suggest for you guys is, like, putting it all, like, in one place
We're moving it to
because
Airtable. We're moving it to
okay.
Airtable and it's going to be inside your portal. That's on the
Oh,
list
nice.
so that you can
Yeah.
search it and look at old ones and stuff like that because it's a little clunky right now. But we're moving it over. We're consolidating it all. I prefer to hire out of the talent pool because I'm like, I can
Yeah.
see them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Versus waiting 2 weeks, unless it's something that's like really hard to find. I'd rather just like hire
Yeah.
somebody out of the talent pool. Like,
Yeah, is there a way to see, like, okay, they're hiring for these positions right now, so I know the talent pool might have these
it's a good
positions in, like, 2
question.
weeks?
That's a good question. When I originally wanted to do Sagan, and I still might do this, I thought that the way to do it was to charge like half as much as we charge now and include unlimited talent pool hiring and then like 15% of year one salary for any custom sourced, but only charge 5,000 a year. Don't
Yeah.
bundle any hires. And I'm like, I still kind of like that because now it's just like for the people that know to play the game, they get to take advantage of the game and seeing the talent pool and we'll put more because I'd prefer to source candidates like that.
Yeah.
And then when you need a controller with 10 years experience, you're like, yeah, man, then you pay us what, 3 grand to find them. Still nothing. It's still
Yeah, yeah.
$10,000 less than a competitor. But for us now we're like, okay, Cat's serious about finding this controller. You're not going to use a credit on like finding a VA. I'm like, dude, you're using it wrong.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
I still think that's a good idea for us. I'm harassing our team about maybe just on renewal, we'll allow that. That's probably what we'll do is it'd be for renewals only.
I
If you
like
did want
that,
to do that.
the renewal part.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
Because once you get your core team, it's like, "Oh, do you
correct.
need the monthly thing?" I've
Correct.
definitely thought that, but the renewal thing, it's like, "Oh, yeah, for sure."
Correct. So it's like the thing is that unfortunately, my heart is in the small business, but we're pulling into the bigger market. And so for
Yeah.
those people, they're like 6 people a year. Come on, what do you waste? Yeah, of course we have that. My heart is in the people though who are like, I have 6 hires and then I have like 1 or 2 every year. And so that's why I also want to kind of create an offer, especially around renewals, for people who are just like, no, you guys hired like 4 people for me. This year we're not going to staff up as much, but I love Sagan and all this technology
Yeah,
and
yeah.
continued education. I got a couple hires. I want to create a tier for people like that who I'm like, it's an easy price. We love doing it.
Yeah.
We want to keep you in the world. So that's what I'd say.
Yeah, and I think, like, just letting us know the other, because sometimes you'll post on Twitter, like, "Oh, we do this." I'm like, "Do you? That's cool."
We're we're working. It's a good
And, like,
problem to
that
have.
sometimes it's like I'm just, like, not opening emails, I guess.
Yeah, it's what I would say. It's a good problem to have, which is people come in because of our hiring, no doubt. But then we're working on kind of our education process so that, for example, your team knows we did a class today we had 25 people in it live about cross culture communication. Your
Mhm.
entire South American team should have been there. It's a failure on our part that it wasn't put in a form that was easy enough, whatever that needs to be, whether it's we directly communicate with them after asking you for permission, whether it's the
I
portal,
actually
whether
do
it's
think that would be helpful, like, if you can get the when a person comes on, it's like their existing team or their new team of like, "Oh,
correct. That's
we
one of the
know
things we
we just
changed.
placed this,
Yeah,
so let's add them," and then we can send, because sometimes my team will, like, send me, they're like, "Oh, do you interested in this random thing?" I'm like, "Obviously not. Like, this is a dumb question."
yeah,
But they would actually, what I'm saying is, like, they will open your emails and be
correct.
like, "Oh, yeah, this
Correct.
would be a good thing to
Correct. We
join."
do want to on like, Spanish language accent reduction. I don't want to have to
Mm,
email Kat and then Kat needs to send it. I'd rather just be when you onboard, hey Kat, tell me who on your team we should invite to the training. And then they show up and you get a report at the end of the month that's like, hey, 7 of your people came to our continued education. And you're like, I'm lazy. Thank you for not. I
yeah.
will send my team as long as I don't have to be involved, which is how I feel about it. I'm like, I don't want anything, but you all go. Oh yeah.
When you hire someone, you're like, "Success," and, I let you know, "Oh, I hired this person, blah, blah, blah," and then you ask me, "Do you want us to add them to the continued education? Here's someone's coming up." I'd be like, "Oh, yeah, great."
Correct. Almost every single business owner in Sagan wants to continue to develop in their people. And when you're like, oh, like Sagan, you're like, oh, I've only got a couple hires, but you're like, I had 9 of my people attend training at Sagan to make them better in the last 6 months. You're like, just as a training membership, it's worth it. So like that's part of we just need to do a better job. We're working on it. We've got a lot of stuff. We're making a lot of investments and just like making it easier for you to take advantage of all the crap that we're doing. Cause right now it's like, we got to email you. And you're like, well, I don't even
Yeah, yeah.
know. It's a little clunky. We're working on it though. I don't want to take too much of your time, Kat. Any questions, comments, other things you want to bullshit about?
No, I mean, when are you gonna start hiring a Twitter influencer as the face of Sagan?
So, Sahil Bloom.
Mhm.
So I was chirping at him a little bit just because it's fun because he's, like got pictures, like his wife's got perfect makeup on and he's holding his child. And I'm like, I gotta, but the problem is he got in on the joke and now he's like commenting on stuff and he's in on the joke. And I'm like, it's not as much fun, Sahil, because he's like
Yeah,
giving
but that
himself a
that
hard
means
time.
he can,
Yeah.
like, take it now.
It means I like
It's
him.
when the people that, like, because I shit post a lot on Twitter.
You're from Northern Ireland. This is the way you
Yeah,
talk.
this is literally my
It's
love
banter.
language.
It's
Yeah,
banter. It's bants, right?
and
Everybody knows.
if we can banter, I know that we're gonna get on.
Correct.
And if you take it seriously, I just like, oh,
Correct. And it's just like flicking boogers. I'm not going to be like, you're a scammer. You should be in jail. No, but I am going to be like, make fun of you if you're expensive. If you post
yeah,
a picture of you with your shirt off, I'm going to give you a hard time. Like, and Sahil got it right away and he jumped in. And I'm like, all right, I like this guy now. And
yeah,
so he's an example of doing it right, where it's just like, come on, man, it's just banter. Like, I'm sure you do that to your wife. Like,
yeah.
you just like give her a hard
All
time
my
when
closest friends.
if somebody's so self-serious that they can't deal with that, I'm like,
Yeah,
that's a long way of saying that could be a whole nother podcast about where I do think that there's places to use influencers and where I don't. I think it's really hard to get right, but I still think that there's a lot of money to be made with earned
yeah,
media partnerships via influencers, especially as kind of SEO goes to shit. But I still think there's a lot there, but it's hard. I saw your Are you posting a lot on short form videos these days?
no, I did like an experiment last year. I haven't done any in a while.
Yeah, I can't. I've tried a couple. I like writing.
Yeah, I
I like
also,
writing.
yeah, I'm more of a written. So I like doing. I'll do like a blog post,
Yeah.
which some people still read.
I went and looked, by the way. You need to write more. I want you to write. Like, I love your writing. You don't write enough, right? Wait, can you write more, please?
Okay, I actually do need to write more, and I've been I have a lot of stuff. Here's the thing. I have a lot of half published ideas. And it's like that last, I mean, my wife and I have a running joke of like that last 5% is
Takes
like the
80% of the
struggle.
time.
But I do like writing is like how I like think through things.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So consider this one vote. When you do write, I look forward to what you write. So please write more.
Okay. I will write about there's like I have a half post written on
Oh yeah,
Sagan,
of course. Yeah, that too. Please.
but also I think the best like is like, okay, here's how I'm using this for this thing.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want to write like, oh, AI is really helpful for business. It's like, no, here's a specific thing and how I use it. And that's generally how people
I love it.
like my
Yeah,
stuff.
it's applied. It's not
Yeah.
bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Kat, so much fun to talk. I'm gonna hit pause. Thanks. Where should people find you if they're looking for you?
Littlemight.com, Catherine Lavery on Twitter, and all of the places. And then bestself.co if you're curious what a buyback from PE looks like.
Awesome.
Buy back some stuff.
What a story. Well, thanks for joining me. I'm gonna hit pause.